So I went into reconciliation knowing my parents were never going to apologize. They were never actually going to acknowledge this had happened because they couldn't. I believe my dad remembered it in a very particular way, like I was telling her bedtime stories, because that was acceptable in his mind to allow him to continue and not think of himself as a monster.
Mm-hmm.
My mom could not process this because then she would have had to admit she married a monster. And she was not capable of that. So I had to accept that that was not something I was going to get if I reconciled. What I wanted was to have some semblance of relationship, and that was okay for me. When I was younger, prior to getting my memories back, I wanted to have the deep conversations. I wanted to work things out. I wanted to understand stuff. And then I'm like, my parents are never going to go there. So I can either never talk to them again and they die and that's how it is, or I can try to go through this process because I want to go through this process and because that's the person I want to be in my life now. So that's the thing. It's like you have to decide. The forgiveness isn't for the other person. The forgiveness is for you. It's for us. I liken it to, there's a scene, one of my favorite movies is The Martian with Matt Damon. And, he's trying to figure out how he's going to take this Mars rover to this very long journey. And it's freezing on Mars. And so he finally figures out like, oh, if I dig up the radioactive isotope and put it in the rover, it'll keep me warm. They tell you not to do that because it's a radioactive isotope and it's probably poisoning me with radiation, but this is how and I felt like I was carrying around that waste.
Oh.
And I didn't want to carry that anymore. So the anger for me felt like poison and I just didn't want to carry it anymore. That doesn't mean my dad deserved forgiveness. He didn't. It doesn't mean my parents really deserved to be forgiven. They didn't. And if they had been capable of saying something else when I confronted them, any other thing besides you made this up, things would have been different. I would have been willing to work with them, but they weren't capable of that. So this is how it played out.